Hi, this is Kimberley. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 4 of My Daddy is a Hero, How Chris Watts Went from Family Man to Family Killer by Lena Derhally. The title of this chapter is I'd Do Anything for Those Girls. So we are on Tuesday morning, August 14th, 2018, the day after the murders. Search and rescue teams have been deployed to look for Shanann and the girls. Officer Catherine Lyons arrived at the house and was nearly knocked over from the overpowering, potent scent of cleaning chemicals that Jerkoff had been using to sanitize the crime scene. He had been able to sleep much without Bella and Cece there to throw chicken nuggets at him, so he decided to do a bit of tidying up. When Officer Lyons' eyes and nose quit burning and watering, she was eyeballing him sideways and made note of CW being a prick and acting all tense and unconcerned. Also that he was smirking and smiling inappropriately. His eyes were darting around, but he made no eye contact with anyone. Against his mother-in-law's advice, Chris eagerly agreed to do the media interviews to show off his social interaction skills and that he was man of the family. And while we all know how that went, you can almost imagine the sirens and flashing lights and imaginary arrows pointing at him after he was done flapping his jaws and spewing verbal nonsense. Did dumbass really think he was outsmarting everyone? This chapter, of course, started with reliving the interview he did with the news stations. I think we can all almost recite it word for word. And everything that I've read so far in this book, it is very well written. I mean, I have no bitching and complaining to do. And I know I would be hanging on the very edge of my seat if I had not been down this road many times before. The author continues on to describe the fiasco that went on that morning with the local news stations. If I were just reading this book on my own, I would just be skimming over this part very fast. But I do understand she has to establish the timeline. I've just gone over so much of this on my own. But you know Chris and shit is doing his bit where he's trying to be all cool and saying, like, if somebody, like, has her, like, I need you to, like, bring her back. And, like, if they are, like, safe, like, and they are, like, gonna, like, come back, like, you know, and I, like, miss them, like, you know, like barrel rushing me, all the while peppering it with little laughs and smirks. It was full of I want and I miss, but everyone can see he is just completely uninhabited, like, in his mind. He, like, checked out a long time ago. If his hair were longer, he would have been doing that emo hair flip, you know, where one moves their head in such a way as to get the hair out of their eyes without using their hands. He's a goddamn embarrassment to the human race. A complete and utter moron, damn fool, dickweed jerk-off, bungling, maladroit, dumb-asshole, extraordinarily stupid, foolish, clod-hopping dickhead, fucker, pinhead, cretin, slithering, idiot, brainless, incompetent piece of chicken shit. Eat dirt, bitch. But then we get to where Blockhead goes to the police station to meet with Special Agent Graham Coder of the FBI. Yep. While this son of a bitch was laying under a car becoming a master mechanic, Coder was polishing off his degree in criminal justice. He was about to come for Chris Asshat Watts. Well, CW's flippant teenage boy attitude did a quick change once Coder got a hold of him. He was about to make Shithead feel special and unique. He also was about to play on Chris's people-pleaser emotions. That's my own observation, not Miss Lena's. Sometimes I'm all perceptive and stuff. But Coder asked, did Chris and shit think it was merely a coincidence that his family went missing on the very same day he and his wife had a quarrel? So Coder was like, you know, like, getting the hunch that the two might be related, and that CW should put himself in his shoes. Well, damn it. Lunkhead doesn't want anyone to get into trouble on his account. But wait, he didn't want to go to jail either. Oh, brother, what a conundrum he was in. Chris told Coder that it was giving him a tummy ache because he knew it didn't look good on him, but that he's all moral and upright. He would never do such a thing. If you've ever seen videos of this interrogation, I could see Chris start literally squirming in his seat. I was starting to wonder if this bastard was going to get one of those unruly nervous stomach things where you get one of those explosive diarrhea attacks out of nowhere and have to make a sudden trip to the toilet, and Coder was blocking the door. And then Chris got all smart and stuff and flipped it, trying to get Coder to look at it from his point of view. And he was rambling and talking aimlessly, just trying to fill up the quiet time. He promised Coder that he, quote, had nothing to do with that, end quote. But you know what I noticed on my own? That Chris did not pinky swear when he said that he promised he had nothing to do with their disappearance. So Coder straight up asked him if he was telling the truth. Chris and shit said yes, and Coder asked him why should he believe him. So Asshole went on to explain that he's all passive and a doormat and stuff. Coder's the kind of guy, he's all smart, and he was figuring out Chris and sizing him up. And he was going to do whatever it takes, even if that means getting down on the floor with him and playing blocks or Hot Wheels with Chris. Chris and shit was trying to explain that he's a good guy and that he has good qualities and character. He just wants everything to be cool, man. No yelling, no screaming, because that kind of stuff upsets him. So Coder assured him there would be none of that and continued to stroke his ego, flattering and praising him, telling him what a big boy he had been during this really hard conversation. But it was going to get a little bit harder, Coder said. Quote, I need to ask you about your marriage and infidelity, end quote. What? Well, Chris and shit just flipped the fuck out. Coder was wanting to know if Chris had been playing house with a new mommy other than Shanann. Well, his eyes got big and round like saucers, and his mouth fell wide open. He looked like that kid from Home Alone when the burglars showed up. He didn't like talking about what mommies and daddies do under the covers in the dark. CW started blabbing about he's completely virtuous and he has no moral flaws and shit like that. Chris and shit said in all seriousness that he and Shanann would ask each other's permission before doing something like that. Coder didn't even laugh when he called bullshit on that one. CW backed down from that high horse he had been climbing up on. Coder said blunders happen, and Coder promised not to tell anyone if Chris had a regular secret companion with whom he had a romantic and/or sexual relationship with. So he started buttering him up again, trying to get him to fess up. But Dickweed continued to insist he only played house with Shanann, no one else. The author says, quote, when Chris and Shanann had started dating, Chris was overweight, pale, and socially awkward. When he started doing Thrive, per Shanann's suggestion, he began to lose weight rapidly. He also started working out religiously and watching his calories. The transformation had been remarkable. As Chris sat before Coder, he was objectively lean, muscular, tan, and a handsome man, end quote. And I would just like to clarify, those are the author's words, not mine. So Coder was laying it on thick. He told him he had seen the difference in him from pictures from a few years ago until now. Chris resisted but finally started crumbling when Coder asked him why he was falling out of love. He started talking about how he had liked being by himself over the past 5 weeks, and he just couldn't imagine being married anymore, and that his buddy Mark had asked him if he would be jealous if he ever pictured Shanann with someone else, and Chris and shit had said no, and his buddy Mark said to him, well, then there's your answer. Like, if you love her, it would, be different. Well, okay, but there are other ways of terminating a marriage and parting ways, dumbass. For example, a divorce is a legal dissolution of a marriage, and people stay alive and go their separate ways. And then non-custodial parent visitation rights of their children, they do that shit. And then there are people that are actually all blissed out afterwards. Please forgive my froggy throat. I have a sore throat and a cold. So this buddy Mark, you visited him when you were in San Francisco with Shanann on that last Thrive trip. So, is it your buddy Mark's fault this time? He's not the one you needed a green light from, asshole. Anyway, so CW was babbling on about not being in love anymore, and Coder cut him off by saying, quote, I gotta tell you, it sounds like a load of horse shit to me, end quote. Go Coder. Chris went on and on and on about the connection. Quote, it's just a connection that isn't there. Like, you know when you can look at someone and put your forehead to their forehead and you hold them and you know what the other's thinking? That's a connection. I didn't have that connection anymore, end quote. Oh my God. And Coder is sitting there looking bored and allowed him to just keep digging himself deeper and deeper into this awkward and embarrassing situation. The author says, quote, Chris sounded as if he was reciting an over-the-top romance novel. Does anyone put their foreheads together and know what the other is thinking? It's obvious Chris was being insincere, end quote. Coder asked for Dumbass's help in not believing he's responsible for his family being missing. Buckweasel gave him a soliloquy about how Coder just needs to trust him and how he wanted his daughters to just tackle him, knock him to the floor and bust my head, he said. Well, Chris and shit, there are people that will still do that for you, Chris and shit, right there where you're at in prison. Coder asked CW to tell him a typical day at their house, and he did, every single painstaking little detail. Then he stopped short of saying that the girls were bossy, just like, and he stopped. Miss Lena says, quote, Chris stopped himself before saying Shanann, realizing how that might sound to Coder. His secret disdain for his wife was slowly creeping in. That disdain was exactly what Coder was looking for. Coder said, urging him to continue, end quote. And now I'm getting excited. The author is creeping into this chapter. She's pointing out stuff I didn't notice before. First about the foreheads touching and how stupid that was, and now this. My interest and attention is suddenly perking up. And I noticed myself that Chris and shit says that when he gets the kids from school, quote, they'll be screaming the whole way home because they want mommy, end quote. And that, quote, Bella wants Shanann to put her to bed, end quote. And Cece wanted him. I wonder if that means anything. Look at me trying to act like a psychoanalysis. The book says, quote, Coder had Chris walk him through the day again at Survey 319. He circled back, attempting to get Chris to talk. Coder said, okay, so let's have this hard conversation again. How old are they? Coder asked, looking for Chris to slip up someplace. 4 and 3, said Chris and shit, end quote. I like that she is explaining what Coder is doing and how he is directing and in charge of the conversation. I knew Coder had a method. I just like that Miss Lena is describing it. Coder keeps pressing CW and tells him he thinks there are 2 Chris's. The responsible Chris and then the other Chris that had a secret. Coder begins to ask him about the call to the daycare. Chris first says he called to see if they were there, and then to tell them they were moving, and then to put them on the waiting list. This is where he really starts to fuck up. He was going round and round with this. He couldn't keep the story straight about the school, and that's my professional opinion, not that of the FBI special agent or the licensed psychotherapist. But CW went on and on about how much he loves his daughters, and that he loves his daughters with all of his heart. And yes, he really did wake Shanann at 4 a.m. to talk and to tell her he didn't love her anymore and that he wanted to separate. Coder told him none of this shit makes sense and asked Chris if they could start over. Chris said sure. Coder asked Chris the last time he saw his kids and wife before leaving that morning. He claimed to see the girls on the monitor and that Shanann was in bed. Coder asked him for the plan of separation. Chris and shit made it sound easy with just, they were going to sell the house and each get their own apartment and there would be 50-50 custody. Then Coder said they would take a break for the night. He could tell that CW was stubbornly refusing to stop being a stupid dumbass. Chris and shit was relieved, saying he only had about 2 hours of sleep the night before. Chris and shit said that he had seen 2 different Coders, alluding to what Coder had said to him earlier about 2 different Chris's. CW was starting to relax as he could see that they were most likely about to wrap it up for the night. Chris said he could see that Coder was only doing his job, and then Coder committed to him that they were not going to stop until he found his family. And Coder said to him, quote, "You know I'm not the only one that thinks that you had something to do with this." And Chris was like, "Another FBI agent?" And Coder was like, "Everyone." Chris got that deer in the headlights look again. Coder was all like, "Have you ever watched the news and saw 2 girls and a pregnant woman go missing? And if that's all you heard, what do you think the public thinks?" "Husband," Chris replied. "Husband," said Coder. Then Coder told him that he was the man. "I'm going to commit to you that I'm going to be your guy, okay? I'm going to be your guy that handles the investigation." I think Chris and Shit found that both comforting and unnerving. He told Chris, "I'm a nice guy. Tonight we had to talk about some tough things, but I hope that you know I did it respectfully. I think you can see that," end quote. Coder told Chris he was being that nice guy that everyone always wanted to see in him, all helpful and shit, and that if Chris and Shit needed someone to cry or to talk to, even in the middle of the night, he said, I want you to know that if you have a question, if you think we're not doing something enough or well enough, I want you to say, I gotta call Graham." CW thanked his new friend Graham Coder and promised he would come back the next day at 11 a.m. for a polygraph. Coder told him they would work as a team. Chris and Shit was going to pick his dad up from the airport in the morning, and then they would head to the police station. It's just unfortunate for Chris and Shit that his parental supervision wasn't there to tell him, "Zip your fucking mouth," before the front porch sermon or before the FBI was testing his knowledge. Chris and Shit needed a good night's sleep, so he grabbed his elf pajamas and went to Nick and Amanda's house for the sleepover. And that will be the end of this video. I'm gonna go nurse my sore throat, and I will pick up with chapter 5 in the next one. Thank you for listening.
Jeremy and Jennifer Lindstrom were with Chris, Bella, and Celeste hours before the murders. He's now listed as a potential witness in the case.
There's no way I would have thought this was the outcome.
They were just here, and they were just playing, and they didn't know, and they didn't deserve it. I'm glad they got to have a fun day.
A husband, police say, who killed his wife and daughters, then blamed their mother for their murders.
Oh, I mean, it's all anybody is talking about when they look at the morning news, because it's just so shocking, and it breaks every covenant of marriage and love and parenthood.
Just when you think this story isn't going to get any worse, it gets worse, and he blames his wife. Now, we don't know what happened. The DA obviously doesn't believe him, but I got to tell you, I mean, I cover a lot of terrible stories and a lot of the bad things that people do to each other. I actually can't watch this. My girls are around the same age. I have a really hard time watching it.
The odds of there being 2 cold-blooded killers in the family willing to take the lives of their loved ones, I mean, you tell me, what are the odds of that? More than likely, that man's a sociopath whose ego is out of check, who has the ability to lie and manipulate, that is unlike any normal citizen, and who feels no empathy. There's no way. It's like a Scott Peterson situation all over again. That's what the police are telling us, that this guy was having an affair, he wanted a different life, and he didn't want that wife, and he didn't want those children. You tell me, if the wife was the one who was taking the lives of these little girls, and he was so enraged, he only took one life, why he was so disrespectful to the bodies of his children. Any man who is actually in that situation doesn't take their children to an oil well and leave their bodies there to decompose alone without even a blessing.
And to have no emotion, because the interview with him happened after everything happened.
Right. That was his performance for us.
Exactly.
Yes, that horrifying clip of him saying, "I want them back," when in fact what he's not telling us, what he's not sharing with us, is that he knows exactly where they are and that he has disgraced
and
their
doesn't
memory.
seem angry at that point.
Right. I mean, it's amazing still to me, though, as a human being, just to see the acting. You know, I think we tend to give people the benefit of the doubt, even though 9 times out of 10 when somebody disappears and it's a spouse, it's the other spouse. I mean, that's just, those are the stats. It's even higher than that. And yet you see somebody who willingly goes on camera and you want to believe, right? Because you don't want to believe that the husband could do it. And the thing is, the mom came home at 1 in the morning from a business trip. Here's this mom, 15 weeks pregnant. She comes home from a business trip. And between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., he murdered her. That's what the police are saying. And the girls. So it's like, what happened in that house at 1 in the morning when everyone in the house was presumably asleep?
We pick up on these signs. The first day when that story was done and he came out and we still didn't know where the family was, I was sitting in the makeup room, which we do in the morning for the Today Show, and everyone's talking about the stories. And almost everyone in that room said, look at that guy. I don't believe what he's saying. We all are very perceptive. And the lack of emotion that day, I think, resonated with anyone who watched it.
I didn't go there. I actually thought he's numb. I mean, he's had this hideous news. You just never know how people are going to seem. And maybe I'm just too gullible, but I was like, I don't know. I still feel like, how could a father do that to the kid?
Because it's completely unbelievable. And then it is completely unbelievable that having done this, he has the temerity to go out there and give that interview and say, please, I want them back. That's so chilling.
Yeah.
We watch that now, and it's an utter horror.
And it's not something we can understand, because someone who has the capacity to ever do that in the first place is of a different mind.
We can't understand.
We can't understand.
And then you think about the poor neighbors who, I don't know if it was the same 2 neighbors that Miguel had in his piece, but 2 neighbors took him in, because it happened late on a Monday night.
And showed him sympathy and tried to help.
Yes, right. and he was not arrested till Wednesday. And so they took him in like, the poor guy, he's going through a terrible time. And they have a child. And they were saying, oh, my God, we had this guy in our house. I mean, the whole thing is such a cautionary tale. And it makes you, not us, not sitting here, but like there are others out there right now who might be married to sociopaths. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do we know?
And you don't know.
How do we know? Because they're such skilled manipulators.
Mm-hmm. At the Lindstrom home in Erie tonight, a lingering question that's not easy to answer.
The hardest part about it all is when you're closer with the family, it's the why. The why gets bigger.
Why did Jeremy's good friend, Chris Watts, allegedly murder his entire family?
We're dumbfounded. We don't get it. Lost.
Chris and the girls, 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Celeste, were just here for Jeremy's little boy's birthday party. The girls were happy. They were normal. So was Chris, or so it appeared.
I mean, he would reach out and help anybody that needed help with anything. He was a good mechanic. If you needed help with your car, he'd help you. If you needed help moving furniture, he'd be over there in a heartbeat to help you out. You don't know what, when, why, where, how everything goes weird.
When did it all go so weird, so wrong? Like the bizarre interview Chris gave us a day after his family's disappearance.
If somebody has her and they're not safe, I want them back now. I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen.
We now know that was never going to happen. But for Jeremy, the why is still incredibly painful to comprehend.
Just horrible. Why do people do this? Why does it come down to this? Had to have been an easier route.
And check out the growing memorial outside the family's home tonight. A very nice tribute to those little girls and the mother. This neighborhood on the far western edge of Frederick still reeling from this tragedy. We're live tonight. Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.
Wow. And Russell, like you, a lot of us, a lot of families just trying to wrap our heads around how a man who appeared to be such an adoring husband and father could do this.
Including a couple who let Chris Watts stay in their home while police searched for his missing wife and daughters.
He stayed the night at our house across the hall from our 5-year-old.
That'll haunt me.
Nicholas and Amanda Thayer say, in their words, they feel stupid. They say they never suspected Chris would do something like this. They still don't understand why.
They've been close friends with the family for years, they say. And they say that Chris told them Monday about financial trouble and that Shannon was concerned about infidelity.
We had no idea that they were financially until we spoke with Chris on Monday.
He mentioned putting the house up for sale.
And the Thayers also say they called investigators when they didn't think Chris was being as proactive as he should be to find his family. But they never thought this, thinking Shannon may have just gone away for the night.
And tonight, the big question, what we're all wondering, is why. And investigators say they're looking at all scenarios this evening. We checked, the couple has no criminal background, but they did have some financial struggles.
Their bankruptcy filing shows they went from making $147,000 a year in 2013 to $90,000 in a year, 2014. The couple owed $70,000 from credit card debt, student loans, and medical expenses. At the time they filed, they only had about $9.51 in savings and $864 in their checking account. Still so many unanswered questions in this case. We could see formal murder charges filed on Monday. We could also get our hands on the affidavit Monday to learn more about how Shannon and the little girls died. Chris Watts will be back in court on Tuesday.
How are you?
Good, how you doing, sir?
Good, I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy Kevin.
Nice to meet you.
It's my partner, Matt Taylor.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where's McKenna? Hi, McKenna.
Hi. There she is.
I'm Kevin.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm Matt.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I just want to talk to her alone. I think Matt wants to speak with you.
Hard right office.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yep.
You okay with that?
Yep.
All right.
So you guys mind if I talk to you guys real
Not
quick?
at all. Not at all.
Okay, can I get your name again?
It's Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Yep. Lindstrom, Landstrom.
And your name is?
Jennifer Lindstrom.
And he's the one that just had a birthday?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so his party was last
Sunday. Just this
Sunday.
Sunday, like 2 days ago. Okay.
August 12th.
And my understanding is that Chris was here for that?
Yes.
Okay. How do you guys know
both
him?
girls.
With both
I
girls?
worked with them at Longmont Ford.
You work with?
I worked with Chris and Shannon both.
Okay.
When they got out here from North Carolina, that's the dealership that brought them out here.
Oh, okay.
But they haven't worked there in several years.
Yeah.
You know when the last? How long ago they quit working there?
She left before he did to work at Children's Hospital.
She left when she was pregnant with Bella.
Yeah, so
And
4
Bella-
years
yeah,
ago.
4 years ago.
4 years, okay.
4 or 5 years ago.
I would guess his was probably 2 or 3 years ago, because she got him the job with the oil field instead of making more money, and he went.
But they both moved out here to work there at the dealership from?
He did, and she just got a job there because she didn't have anything else going on.
So how long ago did they move out here, roughly?
I would say
6, 7 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably 2010-ish, give or take, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, because it was a couple years before Bella was born. She was born in 2013.
Had to have been around 2010.
Yeah, or 11.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's been several years.
Okay. You guys been friends with them that whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you kind of casual friends? Are you guys like good friends with them? Do you hang out with them a lot?
It's kind of one of those, like, you've got a best friend and you only see each other a few times a year, but nothing leaves off.
Right.
Yeah.
If you, like, birthday parties, we always see them for their birthday parties, maybe a couple barbecues a year.
Came on Father's Day for a barbecue.
Yep.
And so Chris was here with both Bella and CC?
Yep.
Okay. What was his demeanor when he was here?
Normal.
Okay.
He's always kind of a quiet dude. Doesn't show emotion very much. Yeah.
Just watching after the girls, mostly.
Okay. How many people were here roughly?
Stephen Bree, Taylor, Jordan, Emmett, us, and then just kids.
Less than
So like,
yeah, most of our neighbors were out of town.
Yeah,
so like 5 or 6 adults and a bunch of kids?
Yeah, 5 or 6 kids. Bella, Buddy, Emmett, Kylie, Austin was over here.
Before Sunday, when was the last time you talked to either Chris or?
I guess it would have been Saturday. Maybe Friday, because he texted me to see if McKenna could watch the girls so he could go to the Rockies game. He won tickets at work or something.
Oh, okay.
And then I texted him on Saturday and said, hey, I just got Broncos tickets. If you want to go with me to the Broncos game instead. But he said no, his work would get mad if he didn't use the tickets. So
No, it's the Rockies game on Sunday?
Saturday.
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 Oh, the Broncos played Saturday night, didn't they? That's right.
Yep, there was
Okay.
both games Saturday night.
Okay. Do you know who he went to the Rockies game with?
No idea.
Okay. But he won tickets at work?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Okay. And your daughter babysat for him?
Yes.
Is that M-C-K-E-N-N-A?
K-E-N-N-A.
Did she say anything about how that went Saturday?
No, it's normal. She said that the kids asleep, so it was easy.
Okay. You know what time she went over there?
I dropped her off. She's supposed to be there at 4:30, and I dropped her off about 4:25.
Okay. And did you guys go pick her up?
I did.
Okay. What time was that?
Well, I left here around 10 because she said Chris would probably be home around 10.
Okay.
So I left around 10. I got there, I don't know what, less than 10 minutes later, and I had him with me because they were at the game. He fell asleep in the car, so I Snapchatted her and asked her if Chris was home yet, and she said no. I said, okay, well, I'm just going to sit in the car with him because he's sleeping. And then Chris pulled up probably about 15 minutes later, around 10:30ish.
Okay. Did you talk to him at all?
No. He went in and went in the garage. I don't even think he noticed I was parked out there.
Oh, okay.
And then, he went in and just a couple of minutes later he kind of came out.
Okay. Do you know what car he was driving that night?
The white Lexus.
White Lexus.
SUV.
You said he went in through garage. Is that how they normally get in and out of the house?
Yeah. I think so. And then when McKenna came out, she came out the front door, and the dog ran out after her. So I saw Chris coming outside, trying to get the dog.
Did he park in the garage? You said the kids just kind of slept the whole time.
Well, they have a very regimented schedule. So their bedtime is 7, and Chris had ordered pizza for them. McKenna said, and I think the pizza got there a while after she got there. They ate, played for a little bit, and then it was time for her to get them ready for bed.
Okay.
And I think she said that Cece went to sleep, but then Bella had come downstairs and said she couldn't sleep, so McKenna had her just come sit downstairs with her for a few minutes, and then she went back upstairs and was able to fall asleep. She said they're really easy to watch compared to
these monsters
who does not go to bed.
No.
Or,
Do you know Bella not being able to sleep, is that normal? Or did she say why? She didn't say anything.
She didn't say.
Okay. You said the dog ran out the front door? What kind of dog do they have?
A little wiener dog.
Oh, okay.
His name is Dieter, I think.
Yeah.
Dieter.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Dieter.
Dieter?
Yeah. I have no idea how you spell
Like
that.
D-E-T-E-R?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's how it sounds anyway, right? Okay. Do you have any other pets?
I don't think so. Shanann's parents lived with them like last year, and they had a couple dogs, but those dogs left with the parents.
Okay.
So I think just the one.
Did you guys talk to Chris on Sunday at the party?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything seem different about him, or
No.
any unusual conversations?
No, he was talking to us about they knew the gender of the baby, but it's in the
Because
envelope.
the reveal party's supposed to be this week.
So they're supposed to reveal
okay.
the gender this week because they have 2 girls. So maybe that'd be cool if it was a boy. I asked them if they needed a crib because we still have his old crib, and I know they got rid of all their baby stuff.
Check
for
the
girls.
top buttock and so.
So he said no, we have that taken care of.
Said they still have one in the basement.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just watching the girls. Cece had towards the end of the party, Cece was on the rock climbing thing, and she kind of slid down and was crying. So Chris, ran over and helped her and said she wanted her blanket, so her blanket wasn't here. So he was having kind of a rough time getting her to calm down.
Oh, okay.
Then eventually she did.
How did you do with that?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always been good with that. It's,
Yeah. He's really
we always,
hands-on.
we've always just referred him as the mellow guy.
Yeah, and Shanann had mentioned we weren't planning on having a 3rd kid, but then Chris said he wanted one, and she said that she agreed to it because she knows what a hands-on dad that he is, and so if it got if it got busy or overwhelming, that she knew that he'd always be there to help.
So it was kind of his idea to have the third kid?
That's what she had mentioned. On Father's Day.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, you're pregnant, congratulations. I didn't know you guys were trying or going to have another one. And she's like, yeah, we kind of decided, Chris was saying a lot of another one. So.
Did she seem excited about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She said she was feeling good because her prior pregnancies, she's had health issues in the past, so her prior pregnancies, she's had, not feeling well. Sickness, and she said that so far she was feeling really good. So.
No, it's
And I'm assuming she continued to feel good because she's been traveling a lot.
Mm-hmm. The prior pregnancy, do you know what kind of, just like morning sickness you mean, or like other health issues?
Well, she said that she had lupus, yeah, and what was the other one? Fibromyalgia. So she had just a lot of body pain.
She has migraines a lot.
Migraines.
Before they had Bella, she mentioned that the doctor said she'd never even be able to have kids.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She had, those problems.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that her.
She's always been a little weird to me. By way of
health issues.
Yeah.
And the girls have health issues too. Which isn't,
Well, and she calls herself Shanann, but her mom calls her Shannon.
Oh, okay.
So she's got a little bit of a rebellious.
Yeah.
That's not her name. It's Shanann.
Yeah.
But she changed the enunciation of it.
Right.
Yeah,
I was wondering about that because it's kind of spelled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And we only knew that because her mom came over here for a barbecue one day
and called
her Shannon. I'm like, your mom named you, dude. That's how your name was supposed to be. So she's very meticulous with everything. I don't know if you walk around their house or not, but she's got labels and storage containers in the walk-in pantry. Everything's in a certain place.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as organized. Yeah, when we first moved in here, she kept asking us if we wanted help unpacking and organizing.
Oh,
she
really?
Really liked
OCD about it.
Stuff to be in its place and clean and
very particular.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other kind of way she was different? You said she's kind of a different.
Just particular about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Just with organizing, everything had to be clean. I picked Chris up one night to take him to the airport late, and he couldn't leave the house to go to the airport until he was done cleaning up the basement. It's very controlling in that way.
Okay.
So we always thought, man, he's just got to be a really good dude to she found the right guy.
Yeah.
If she's going to be that personality, she's found the right personality.
She's like the type A, and I always said they could never be married because he has that same way about him.
Right.
And, they would just butt heads. So
yeah, even at work they would hand her his check.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she handled all the finances.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything.
But there was never anything more than just that's their personality.
Yeah, it wasn't anything mean about it or just
windy, dude.
And when both Bella and Cece were babies, she had them on this regimen called I think it was Baby Sense or something, where every day they did the same thing at the same time so that she could get them on a set.
I think our pool blew.
Oh, okay.
And that's how they go to bed.
Oh, it did?
And now they know every night, they know they have to go turn on their white noise machine and get in their bed. And kind of said they both went to the bathroom by themselves and they didn't even have to go to the bathroom, which she found pretty impressive for a 3 or 4-year-old. Especially again, because this guy is not potty trained. So she's like, she's like, compared to him, they were super easy to watch.
But that's her style, and she's very consistent with everything.
Yeah.
She's the one that can come up with an idea and she will stick it out.
Okay.
Yeah, this whole Thrive thing.
She's been doing that.
She's stuck to it for a long time, and
she's doing good because she's consistent.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of consistent people in the world that can follow. Like, I'm going to do this week and actually do it. That just sucks that she's missing.
You said she handled the finances. Do you know what their finances were like? Were they doing well? Were they in money troubles? Do you have any idea?
They, at one point, before she started doing Thrive and stuff like that, they were a little bit struggling, but since then...
Yeah, and I know that Thrive pays for their car payments because they earned a VIP status.
I know she's very good at She's a couponer, like.
Yeah, she always knows.
She watches
the
everything.
deal.
She pays attention to savings.
Yeah.
Like,
But at one point, she had a part-time job at Children's Place, so she could get discount, like maybe just like 1 day a week, that she could get discounts on clothes for the girls. She wanted them to have
she had it all
clothes.
figured out.
And I know that they would go on trips with Thrive that were
because of
paid,
her accomplishments.
that were paid for. Like sometimes she would just go, but sometimes Chris would go too. Like they went to Dominican Republic, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She wins the trips every year
she
because
wins
she's
the
focused
trips.
on trying to win.
And some, she tries to have Chris go on the bigger trips, you know, like the nice ones. But sometimes I think she just does conventions, maybe, like these smaller trips that she goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But I know her and Chris, before she went to visit her mom during the summer, her and Chris had gone to San Diego on a trip for a few days.
Okay.
McKenna mentioned they were going to Aspen this weekend on Friday, and while she was babysitting, Shanann had texted McKenna and asked if she could babysit the girls again on Friday because they were going to Aspen for the weekend, and whoever was watching the girls couldn't watch them until 7, and they wanted to leave earlier because of traffic. So she was wondering if McKenna could babysit the girls from like 4:30 to 7. And McKenna asked me, and I said that's fine. She would just have to pick you up because I won't be home from work until 5. But then I could pick you up at 7. And she told Shanann that, and Shanann said, okay, well we'll talk about it, you know, later in the week or whatever as it gets closer.
Okay.
And I don't know if the Aspen trip was.
Well, and she was just in North Carolina for like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Before Arizona.
Without Chris.
Okay.
With her parents. But I think
And
Chris
the kids.
came at the end. On Facebook, I saw them like at the beach, and Chris was there. So.
You guys know what that was about?
I don't know. No idea. I remember when they were here on Father's Day, she said she was going to be gone.
Yeah.
So invite Chris over so he's not bored at home.
Yeah. And I don't know. She's never gone on a trip that long before.
But it's not abnormal. She had her parents lived with her for a year, and then she had a friend from Hawaii come out for like 6 months or something.
Oh, really?
So it's not uncommon for them to do those long trips.
The girl from Hawaii came out though because Shanann had neck surgery.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't going to be able to lift the girls.
Oh,
and
okay.
with Chris at work, she needed help.
That's right.
I think that girl came out because her husband was on a deployment or something. So she's like, yeah, sure, I'll come out and help you. I don't have anything else going on. So she's met all like different people from Thrive that like we don't know of. You know, never met. The only one we met from Thrive is the girl that when she was visiting from Hawaii, and that was last summer.
Okay. So you said she's kind of a very regimented person.
Yeah.
Is that true, like in her schedule too? And I mean, is she kind of a person of habit? She does the same thing every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes. That's why it was weird that the kids didn't show up at school, because she's not the person that the kids wouldn't have been brought to their first day of school.
Okay, you probably put it in the dryer.
When was the first day of school?
Yesterday.
Okay.
And our neighbors go to school. Their kid goes to school with their kid.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yeah, I didn't see him there.
And she'll always post on Facebook. Like she's a big Facebook poster to the point sometimes where people are like, okay, like overkill. But she'll
block
post,
her for a while.
Like she'll post the girls like hugging each other before school and look at the cute outfit I put them in, and or she'll post a long list of before I took the girls to school, because of my Thrive, I was able to do laundry, vacuum, get all this stuff done before I would leave.
She does like people to know what she's doing.
Yeah. Or if she's, making something that she's proud of for food, she'll post it on there of, look at my homemade thing, that's been in my family for this long. And like when Bella was a baby, she'd always be posting homemade baby food and Bella eating baby food, and she just really when
she likes to share everything.
She likes to share everything. She's a very open book.
So it would definitely be out of character for her to just disappear like this.
Yes.
And without her phone,
without her phone, her purse, her car seats, car.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it would be out of character for her to even go on a morning walk. you know, to go outside and not have anything with her and then
Yeah.
come up missing.
Like, Shanann's a person, if you text her, she always has her phone with her and she'll text you right back. Like, she
Always has her phone.
Always has her phone.
How did you guys learn that she didn't have that stuff now?
I went over to Chris's last night. I know him well enough. It's like when I saw her mom post on Facebook that Shanann was missing. I read it like 6 times, and I'm like, "What is this?"
Yeah, like is this?
And I looked at her and I said, "I think Shanann's missing with the girls."
And
so I called over there because another one of our friends, Dave, lives in the neighborhood, and I'm like, "You're closer than I am. Go knock on his door and see what's going on." You know, and he texted me back and he goes, "Yeah, it's for real." And I was in my truck and I'm like,
because we thought maybe her mom was, her mom's in North Carolina, so maybe her mom just doesn't know all the pieces of the story and is being freaked out.
And we look at the clock, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, no, those kids are asleep at 7.
Yeah, those kids are not in their bed. That's a big deal.
And so I was in there, and I was there, and it was either him or Dave said, yeah, she doesn't have her phone, she doesn't have her car's in the garage. And then I get over there and I'm like, do you have her phone? Look at her phone. Who did she text? Who called her? Who did she call? He's like, cops already took the phone. And I said, okay, so they're gonna look through the phone. I'm like, she texted me, are the car seats in the car? It's like, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I'm like,
That's
maybe
what I said,
she
the car
had
seats?
Uber pick her up, or
Yeah, I'm like, if she just said she's out, then, I mean, normally people that are out, they're at least going to take their phone and car seats and
and the kids' medication,
kid stuff, and yeah.
Cece's highly allergic to certain things, like anaphylactic.
Because that was my first thing. I was like,
allergic.
the kid doesn't have their medicines, and then I asked Chris, I'm like, she left the medicine too? He's like, well, we have spare medicine in the basement, so she could have taken something.
Okay.
But I don't know. I didn't want to grill him with questions because obviously he's going through something and doesn't need to hear it from 37 people. I'm like, you need anything, dude? I'll stay here the whole night. I don't care.
What was his demeanor like last night?
Just like the blank stare. Just I don't know. My phone's blowing up. He's like, I just want to go finish cleaning and try to go to bed. And I'm like, okay. I guess some people get nervous, get weird, they start cleaning. I don't know.
Do you think that's a normal reaction?
I don't know. I don't know what people do.
Yeah, everybody reacts differently.
Everybody's
but based on what you know of him, do you think that's a...
I'm sure he cleans a lot.
Yeah.
He does a lot of work around the house, the yard work, but more so she'll have her lists that need to be completed.
He probably just didn't know what to do with himself.
I'm sure. I was like...
Did he seem concerned?
Concerned, yes. Just more of a shocked face, like... Like, I have no idea. I'm like, where would they go? Who would they go to? Like, I mean, I'm the question head. Like, I've got to try to figure this out. That's the way my brain turns into.
Yeah, and like, we've been talking about this like nonstop.
Right.
If obviously, if things weren't left behind, it would just be like, okay, they're having problems. She needs a break or whatever. They had a fight.
Did he say anything like that? Like they had a fight or they had a blowout or... Did he give you an idea of what he thought? I mean, did he say anything?
Nothing. He was on the phone with his mom, and then he's like, oh, my mom says everybody's making it look like I did something on Facebook, and I shouldn't even look at Facebook. And I'm like, dude, I said, should we go look at the park? Should we go walk around? Should we go somewhere? He goes, no, the cops told me to stay at the house because I wouldn't even know where to look and what to look for. I'm like, because I always worry, like, what if they went to the pool? I mean, yeah, they probably didn't go to the pool, but what if they did go to the pool and they went in the pool bathroom and the door broke on the inside and they couldn't get out? It's just not normal.
Yeah, it's just like
for her to not be there.
Trying to piece all this, like none of it makes sense. And that's like the bottom line, is none of it makes sense.
And when you know the people, it's even harder to make sense out of it.
Right.
And it's freaking weird to see their faces.
There was a dead bird on the driveway.
On the news, to see their faces plastered on the news and be like, we just saw those girls on Sunday. I don't know if we're the last people that saw those girls like since then.
I mean, obviously we were the last time to see them all together.
Yeah, but it's just.
So they went home from here and
it makes.
He went to work or whatever, and
I keep trying to think like best case scenario, but I can't stop thinking about.
I just don't know if she's vindictive enough to do all this just to mess with him or not, you know? But you don't know who's who.
Right.
You really don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a million things that could go through your head.
Right.
You want to err on the side of everything's okay and she's just being stupid right now, but who knows?
But where would she go be stupid? Like, they don't have family out here.
Right.
It's just friends.
And some people, I mean, if she's cheating on him or he's cheating on her, and they're telling nobody, then nobody knows any of that.
So neither of them have said anything like that to either of you guys?
Never. I mean,
they're pretty.
They don't even strike you as the type of people that would be having an affair on each other.
Like, they're pretty like cookie cutter, and I mean, they're like looks like they have the perfect life.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
But that's what you see every time on the news when something happens. It's like, oh, they were the greatest neighbors. They were.
Right.
I don't know what happened. At this point, nobody knows what happened. I just hope they're not stuck somewhere and nobody's trying to find where they're trapped or stuff.
So you mentioned that when you saw the thing on Facebook, you called Dave.
Yeah.
Who is that?
He's one of the neighbors. He used to be he used to own a body shop in Longmont.
Okay.
That used to fix some of our used cars.
Oh, okay.
But he happened to live in the same neighborhood.
Do you know his last name?
Neighborhood, Cologne, Colon.
Do you have an address or phone number
I
for him?
don't.
Okay. How'd you get a hold of him?
No, phone number, yes. Sorry.
That's okay.
Address, no. Ruby something, I think he said is his street name.
Okay.
But yes.
Same neighborhood though?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Literally, I think it's like a street over, one of the diagonals. I've never been to their house.
Was there anybody else over there when you were over there besides you and Dave?
No. Okay. And we were probably there for maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. Just kind of, do you need something from us? Like, what can we do to help?
Do you know what? So, and he said no. The cops told him to stay at the house.
Yeah, he's like, all I can do is wait and hope that they're somewhere and that they're safe. And
Did you notice anything in the house looked out of place? Anything like that?
No, their house is always clean.
Yeah. Who else are their friends that you guys know of?
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We don't really.
Yeah.
They had some friends that we knew a long time ago, but we haven't seen them post on Facebook or anything like that in years.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I think they just hang out with like Thrive people, like people they know from Thrive.
I think Chris works a lot,
Yeah.
and she works a lot on Thrive, 24 hours a day, posting and trying to sell Thrive stuff. And I mean, we only see them probably 4 or 5 times a year.
And usually it's them coming over here. Like we haven't been over to.
We went there for a football game once, for
Yeah.
Steelers game.
But that was like
Steelers fans there.
Oh, okay.
That was like when Bella was a baby.
But she posts so much stuff on Facebook, it's as if you.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely know like where they are, what they're doing.
Is he on social media at all?
Nah, not really. Every now and again he might post something Thrive, but it's very far between.
What does he post on? Facebook.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. He's been working out. He's like, she posts pictures of, look at my man working out with the kids, doing push-ups with one of them on their back. Like, that's why it's so odd that it's like I don't know.
He's lost a lot of weight recently.
In the last year or 2 years, they both did. That's kind of their Thrive thing, and they show themselves and how much weight they've lost since they've been doing Thrive, and having this extra energy to do work around the house, clean up. You know, I can get up at 5 in the morning because I have Thrive and all that different stuff.
Okay. You don't know who any of her friends are or any of his friends?
No, and we watched on 9 News, they interviewed some lady that said she was her best friend, but I didn't recognize her.
No.
And Dave lives in the neighborhood, but I don't know that he's said hi or hung out with him in years.
Okay.
They're not. They knew each other, but they weren't neighbor enough. I think they hung out maybe twice since they both lived there. But I knew he lived in the neighborhood, and I was like, hey, go knock on his door.
So you found out on Facebook, right?
Yeah, her mom posted something that my daughter was missing. And, you see that stuff on Facebook so often, it's just kind of scroll through it, and I had to have read it 6 times. And I'm like, no. Like, there's no way. They were just here yesterday. Well, Chris and the girls.
Right.
But, like, they were just here yesterday. And why, you know, I mean, me and Chris don't text often, but it's like, why didn't he text me and say, hey, have you seen the girls? Have you seen Shanann? Like, where is everybody?
What's the reason she didn't come to the party?
Arizona.
She's
in Arizona.
Do you know what that was for?
Thrive convention.
The Thrive. Okay.
Yeah, she had, when they came over on Father's Day, I'd mentioned to her that we're going to be having this party, you know, sometime in mid-August, and she's like, okay, well, I'll be...
Look at that. That's cool. It's cake? That's yummy cake. What flavor is it?
She said, just send me, like, the email invitation, and...
I have to check my ribs in the back.
Yeah, no, sure.
I won't be here, but Chris will bring the girls. And then I think kind of normal for her to be out of town now because she's for her, you know, for business and stuff.
Okay. She travels a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And when she does travel, does Chris usually do stuff with the kids like that?
Yeah. I think our neighbors said that because they're all in the same preschool class, and I think they said they've seen Chris take the girls to a birthday party before when she's been out of town. So it's pretty good. And like when they got here, like their hair were in little ponytails and stuff. So obviously Chris did that.
Right.
So I mean, he seems to do a pretty good job at taking on the mom role and taking care of them. This is all just really weird.
It's too real. It's too weird. It's weird.
What's your guys' theory? What do you guys think happened?
I look at the, like, you can't put anything past anybody in this world because everybody's freaking weird, right?
Yeah, like people could be struggling even past, you know, quirkiness or weirdness. People could be struggling with stuff that you don't know about at any time. And if she is pregnant and having, you know, stress,
I'll have some later.
you know,
I just ate.
That's stress
with
induced.
stuff and the marriage. I mean,
I worry that her life, if I'm being real, I really worry that she doesn't have any of the issues she says she has. It causes me to believe that she's got a different issue completely.
What do you mean by that?
Like, it almost felt to me like every time a commercial came on TV, she had that disease.
Oh, okay.
You know, and doctors say I'm never going to have kids. And then you're on your third one. You know, but I'm pretty, I don't know, I'm weird about that stuff too. Like, I don't believe everybody has everything they say they have.
Yeah.
But for her to have everything, I don't think so. You know, so it wouldn't put it past me for her to just up and take off.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't. You know, that's my hardest thing, because I want to believe that that's the truth, because I don't want to believe anything else.
Right.
happened.
Right.
I don't believe Chris would ever harm Fly.
Okay.
That's me knowing Chris.
Right.
I don't know what happens behind the closed doors.
Right.
I don't know if her OCD and honey-do list and you're doing this before you leave has gotten to him. You know, doubt it. His personality doesn't really convey something like that.
Yeah.
And would he ever touch his girls? No way. But who knows if she didn't come home and say, this baby's not yours. You know, that's all the stuff that goes in my head. Like, oh, I've been in North Carolina because I've been with the dad of the real dad. You never know what story pops out of nowhere and causes people to go nuts.
Right.
But it wouldn't surprise me that she's at somebody's house, her friend's house, like, and she did all that stuff just to, I'm leaving all my stuff behind just to get in his head. Because maybe he didn't do something he was supposed to do, or, I don't know. I hope that's it, because it's a safer situation.
Right.
I don't know.
You guys mentioned earlier that she was telling you about the... Was it him or her that was telling you that the gender was in the envelope? And
He was.
Okay.
She mentioned it before that they were going to do a gender reveal.
Okay.
He mentioned, I asked him, I said, who knows who it is? Because somebody's got to do the reveal.
Right.
And he said that they have another friend who knows what the sex is.
So they didn't know?
No. He said they don't know what it is yet, but they have a friend who does and was doing something with champagne bottles, colors or something.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know who that friend is.
Okay.
It's why it's all weird, because the conversations were way too normal with plans in the future. Like, typically if there's no, hey, we're going to Aspen this weekend, can your daughter watch the kids on Friday? You know, if there's something bad that's going to happen, there's no plan.
Right.
Who knows?
And they both seemed excited and happy about the baby.
Yeah. She loves having the kids. I mean, she posts everything about them.
Right.
I mean, as far as we know and see. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
If they were having marital problems, no idea.
They hit it good.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They don't tell everybody else if they're having problems.
Anything else that you think we should know? Anybody else that we should talk to?
No, I mean, it's all weird.
Yeah.
Way too weird.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to guess, she's somewhere. But she'd never take the kids without the car seat. And that's where my mind always goes back to, why wouldn't you take her phone? If you're going to leave your husband, you take your stuff with you.
Right.
Unless you want to just be vindictive and cause this big ordeal.
Yeah.
You'd say, look at what I did. Or...
So she likes the attention on Facebook. Is this something she would do to get attention, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the same issue with all the diseases, to get the attention. Does she have one of them? Maybe. Does she have any of them? Probably.
Right.
Does she have all of them? Probably not. You know, like, don't know. You know, she changed the enunciation of her name. Like, what rebellious does she have? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist or, you know, but I see patterns, not even on purpose. But if I was to guess, she's at somebody's house.
Okay.
And that nobody on Facebook has said anything. It's going to be the one on Facebook that's not posting anything that's probably where she's at.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess her friend Nicole dropped her off at the airport, and apparently she's the one that called the cops, according to Facebook anyway. But did they talk about it on the way home from the airport? Who knows? Were they in Arizona for however many days together? Sure. Did they talk about him the whole time maybe? And hey, when I get back, I'm gonna do this. Who knows?
Right.
You know, my heart goes more towards that direction than the other direction. Being that he was here on Sunday with the kids, if he had ambitions of doing anything stupid,
Right.
probably wouldn't have been here on Sunday.
Yeah.
Playing with the kids and having them play with water balloons and I don't know.
Does Shanann have Instagram? Do you know? I said maybe.
Oh, she has everything, bud. She's got two.
two of everything.
That girl's got it all.
I mean, but I wasn't really like see the last time.
But I hate to think of my friends that way.
Right.
That's not, you know.
Hold it down, Mom.
And of course, I get texts from people that, you know, used to work with her, that used to work there, and see it on Facebook. And it's the same, you know, you kind of get some of the same character things of, is she doing this on purpose? You know?
Kind of a common
thought
among people.
Yeah. Attention, is there something she wasn't getting enough attention of? Has she reached her limit in her head? I don't know. Is she tired of living so many lies if she is?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't. I just hope that they're safe. You know?
She's the reason why I have Snapchat. It's easier to
Any
Snapchat.
Snapchat or anything like him for him?
I have Snapchat with like 7 people.
Well, look and see if he's on there because when you download Snapchat, all the contacts in your phone go.
Where do I go to friends?
Have your daughter show you.
Yeah. True.
She's 16 almost.
I know, she's got this under control.
We need to hire some 16-year-olds to do our phone work for us.
Seriously.
Yes. She wants to go into law enforcement possibly. So
Oh, well, good.
You can be the phone person.
There you go.
Can you search friends?
Type them in? Oh gosh, what are you doing? Add friends?
That's what I was under. Cause
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there.
Or can you click on that?
I don't even have them added.
Ooh, let me just
He
take a
doesn't
picture of
even
that.
have a score, so he's probably never used it.
That's all right.
before.
There's some info there. Can you take a picture of that?
Yeah.
Oh, and I have Shanann's email because
Yeah, what's that?
I did e-bike for his
Do
birthday
you have
party.
an email for him too?
I bet you I do. If I would it be under his contacts? I don't have it there, but have I ever emailed him? Because it would save, right?
Yeah.
On my Yahoo?
Mine's only on my e-bike because I've only emailed her on e-bike for the birthday parties.
No, I don't have anything Chris oriented on my sent emails or ever typed in.
But you have an email. And I have.
I have Chris Valentine.
And Shanann's like one of our emergency contacts for this. Hold on,
guys. I think we were like the only ones they knew out here when they first moved out here.
Yeah.
No, they knew the people that Jeannie girl. Janine, Jeanne.
Oh, she.
The one
they lived with.
Yeah, they lived with them.
They lived with.
They lived with them when they first moved here. Like while their house was getting built. And then the last time
That's pretty cool.
Hey.
Hot Wheels, huh?
Because she threw the baby shower.
Look at that.
And who's that?
It's like one of those names where I think
And
it's
I tried
Jeannie,
to
but it
I looked at Shanann's Facebook on my phone to try to look at her friends' names, and everything's blocked to see her friends that you aren't associated with.
Right.
But I don't know if they're still in touch.
She knows her social media really good.
I haven't heard anything about
Just keep the hell somewhere else.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. I had a guy that I worked with was at the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo for that.
Oh, really?
His Tesla got smashed.
Oh, no.
Tesla.
To the ground.
Ouch.
It looked like the car just got completely lowered. It was probably
Really?
his fault. They smashed the pillars. Like he said, I've never seen it ever like that.
Huh.
He's lived in Colorado his whole life.
Wow.
You guys are consistent with those August birthdays.
His due date was August 30th.
McKenna, do you know how to work e-bike? No.
Is it an email?
That's what I'm trying to get to. I just see that she replied yes that she's coming, but when I make a guest list, her email comes up. So I have to make a guest list because it's the only way I know how to.
Yeah, I can't search her friends because her Facebook stuff's all locked up. As far as looking at her friends.
Right.
I have 3 emails in here for her because
It's okay.
I can never spell her name. So, I mean, it's her first name, last name at gmail.com. I don't think it's the last name because that has too many N's.
Oh, you're getting Shanann's email. I thought you were talking about her friend that they moved out here with.
But I
was like, well, that's pretty
I can never
impressive.
figure out how to spell her first name. Yeah, so whatever the correct spelling of her name is her email.
Okay, great.
Because I can't spell her name different.
It's Shannon with an A.
Mm-hmm. Her mom calls her Shannon.
I think her name is Shannon.
And her mom calls her Shannon.
Yeah.
I like how she changed it to Shannon. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, kind of fancy.
Yeah, well, it makes people remember.
Yeah.
You know, she's in the marketing industry. It's pretty smart.
Yeah, makes sense.
She seems like a pretty smart person.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Matt, you good?
I am good.
All right. We appreciate you guys being
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry that you had to be involved in some weird stuff like this at your age. It's no fun.
I'll leave my card in case you guys think of something
Absolutely.
else. Or
You have my card, Mr. McKenna. If you think of anything, call me. If anything comes up we can talk about, call me.
So are you guys taking over for the police then, or is it
no,
like a multi?
we'll work with the police.
Yeah.
So CBI and FBI and local police are working on this right now. So we're just here to help.
Yeah.
We work major cases on a regular basis, unlike what they do.
Well, especially for a small town.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we work, on the side, kidnappings and stuff like that pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So they call us for it.
So is this like considered a kidnapping? Or,
It's considered a missing person.
Yeah.
We work missing persons all the time. Often involved shootings, all these things, so just more experience and more, on the job learning. So, and the more people on the ground that come, there's only how many guys at their PD, they can't come out here and talk to you guys. Yeah. They still have to answer calls for service and have the police guys out there.
That
so
makes sense.
it's not, that's why we exist, just to supplement. We do take cases that we don't want. They can keep it, and we just help.
Okay.
So, but they're doing a good job. I think they're trying really hard. Personal time.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So.
She's doing a really good job at hiding. She's hiding.
You think she's hiding?
I don't know. Like I was telling him, I'm like, I err on the side of she wanted to just uproot and.
Well, we've seen Gone Girl.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen Gone Girl? No.
Matt? Have
Yeah.
you seen Gone Girl?
I've seen it.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah.
The one with Ben Affleck?
Yep.
I don't know that she's dumb enough, if you will, to take it this far.
Yeah. Like, like I could. That's what I'm saying. I could understand that she takes her stuff and says I'm leaving,
or whatever.
and I'm not telling you where I went, or I went home to North Carolina. That's where all my family is.
That's the hardest, yeah.
But
I mean, but sometimes
the
you leave
stuff-
and then you see all the stuff on Facebook, and then you get too scared to say anything,
Right.
and now it's gone too far.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But
hey, McKenna, just so you know, I'd ask anything that we talk about, just keep it to yourself. Don't share it with your friends, or if reporters come knocking on your door, which they won't. But if anybody asks you for questions, just say, I don't want to talk to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's between you and me and your parents.
What?
Okay? All right.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you, folks, for your time.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. We appreciate it.
Beautiful home.
Yeah.
See you later, dog.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're trying,
We'll
but
do our best. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a big old section.
Yeah.
I don't have a room big enough.